The smile was wrong. That's what I keep coming back to, even now. Not the screaming, not Emma's terror, not the blood, just that smile. But I'm getting ahead of myself. It started 3 days into our family vacation at Grandpa's old hunting cabin in northern Minnesota. Dad had been planning this trip for months, ever since Mom passed. "We need this," he kept saying. "Just the 3 of us. No distractions." Emma didn't want to come. My sister had always been sensitive, but after Mom died, she'd become something else entirely. Withdrawn. Jumpy. She'd wake up screaming about shadows in her room, claiming they moved wrong, that they watched her. Dad said it was grief. I believed him. The cabin sat 40 miles from the nearest town, surrounded by dense pine forest that stretched endlessly in every direction. When we arrived, snow was already falling, fat, lazy flakes that turned the world white and silent. Inside, the cabin smelled like old wood and kerosene. One main room with a stone fireplace, 2 small bedrooms, a kitchen that hadn't been updated since the 70s. No cell service. No internet. Just us. "This is perfect," Dad said, dropping our bags by the door. He looked more relaxed than I'd seen him in months. No phones, no noise. Just family. Emma stood in the doorway, staring at the tree line. "Something's watching us," she whispered. There's nothing out there but deer," I said, putting my hand on her shoulder. She flinched away. "You don't see it because you don't want to," she said, her voice flat. "But it's there. It's always there now." Dad sighed. "Emma, honey, we talked about this with Dr. Morrison. The anxiety, the paranoia, it's all part of grief. But you're safe here. We're all safe." She looked at him then, really looked at him, and something flickered across her face. Fear. No. Recognition. Like she'd just noticed something she couldn't unsee. "Dad," she said slowly. "When did you get here?" "What do you mean?" "I drove us here, remember? 3 hours from Minneapolis." "No." Emma shook her head, backing toward the wall. "No, no, no. That's not." She pressed her hands over her eyes. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just tired." "It's okay, sweetheart." Dad moved toward her, but she scrambled away, her breathing rapid and shallow. "Don't touch me, please. Just give me a minute." I helped her to her room, the smaller bedroom at the back of the cabin. She was shaking, her skin cold and clammy. What's going on?" "You're scaring me." She grabbed my wrist, her fingers digging in hard enough to hurt. "Marcus, listen to me. Really listen. Something's wrong with Dad. He's stressed. We all are. Mom just. This isn't about Mom." Her voice cracked. "I'm telling you, something is wrong. The way he moves. The way he smells. Marcus, his shadow doesn't match his body." I pulled away gently. "You need to rest. We'll talk in the morning, okay?" She laughed then, a broken sound that made my chest tight. "You don't believe me. Of course you don't. No one ever does." That night, I woke to Emma screaming. Not the startled cry of a nightmare. This was pure, animal terror. I ran from my room, Dad right behind me. We found her pressed into the corner of her bedroom, pointing at the doorway where Dad had been standing. "Get away from me," she shrieked. "Get out. Emma, it's me. It's Dad." He reached for her. "No." She threw her lamp at him. It shattered against the wall. "You're not him. You're not him. Marcus, can't you see it? Look at his face. Look at his face." I looked. I saw my father, tired, worried, heartbroken. The same man who'd raised me, who'd held Mom's hand in the hospital, who'd cried at her funeral. It's just Dad. You're having an episode." "Wendigo," she whispered, her eyes locked on him. "It's wearing Dad's face like a mask. Marcus, please. You have to see it. Its mouth is too wide. Its teeth are too long. And its eyes, Oh God, its eyes are empty. There's nothing behind them. Nothing human. Dad's face crumpled. Baby girl, I don't know what's happening to you, but I promise. Stop talking with his voice. Emma screamed. Stop wearing his face. Where is my father? We spent the next hour trying to calm her down. Dad eventually left the room because his presence made her hysterical. I sat with her, holding her hand while she cried and muttered about things I couldn't see. Shadows that moved wrong. A smell like rotting meat. The way it watched her when it thought no one was looking. You think I'm crazy, she said finally, her voice hoarse. I think you're hurting, I said carefully. And maybe the grief is making you see things that aren't there. She turned to face me, and I'll never forget the look in her eyes. Utterly defeated. When it finally shows you what it really is, she said quietly, I hope you survive it. Because I don't think I will. The next morning, I woke to find Emma gone. Her bed was empty, sheets thrown back like she'd left in a hurry. Her boots were missing. The back door stood open, letting in a blast of Arctic air and swirling snow. The storm had intensified overnight, visibility maybe 20 feet, wind howling like something alive and hungry. Emma! I shouted into the white void. Nothing. Just wind and the creak of frozen trees. Dad appeared behind me, already pulling on his coat. How long has she been gone? I don't know. I just woke up. I grabbed my jacket, my hands shaking. Dad, she's not well. She could be. I know. His voice was tight. We'll find her. Put on layers. This cold will kill her in an hour. We pushed into the storm together, calling Emma's name. The snow was knee-deep in places, drifting against the cabin walls. I could barely see Dad even though he was right beside me. The world had shrunk to a white, screaming tunnel. There. Dad pointed. Footprints, already half filled with fresh snow, leading toward the tree line. We followed them into the forest. The pines grew dense here, their branches heavy with snow, creating pockets of eerie silence between gusts of wind. Emma's tracks wandered erratically, like she'd been running blind. Or running from something. Emma! I screamed until my throat burned. Emma, please. That's when we heard it. A sound that didn't belong in nature, high and thin and wrong, somewhere between a laugh and a sob. It came from everywhere and nowhere, echoing through the trees. Dad froze. What the hell was that? Emma! I called. Is that you? The sound came again, closer now. And then I saw her. She was standing about 30 feet away, partially hidden behind a massive pine. Her pajamas were soaked through, her skin blue-white with cold. But she wasn't moving. Just standing there, staring at us. Thank God, Dad breathed, starting toward her. Emma, honey, you must be frozen. Stop. Her voice cut through the wind, clear and cold. Don't come closer. Em, you need to come inside. You're hypothermic. I took a step forward. I said stop. She pressed herself against the tree, her eyes wild. Marcus, please. Please listen to me this time. That thing next to you, it's not Dad. It's never been Dad. I glanced at Dad. He looked devastated. Sweetheart, I know you're scared, but this isn't real. Whatever you think you're seeing. I'm seeing you. Emma screamed. The real you. Marcus can't see it yet because it doesn't want him to, but I can. I've been able to see it since Mom died. Maybe because I was there. Maybe because I held her hand when Her voice broke. It was at the hospital, Marcus. In the corner of Mom's room. Watching. Waiting. And when she took her last breath, it smiled. It smiled exactly like Dad smiles, and that's when I knew. My blood felt like ice water. Knew what? That it had already taken him. Probably days before. Maybe weeks. The real Dad, our Dad, he's gone, Marcus. This thing has been living in our house, sleeping in his bed, pretending. learning us. And now it brought us here where no one can hear us scream. Emma, you're not making sense. His shadow, Marcus. Look at his shadow. Against every instinct I looked down. Dad's shadow stretched across the snow, cast by the weak daylight filtering through the storm. It looked normal. A man's shadow. But as I stared, something seemed off about the proportions. The arms too long. The head shape slightly wrong, like, "You're starting to see it, aren't you?" Emma's voice was barely a whisper now. "It's letting you see. Just a little. Just enough." "That's enough," Dad said, and something in his tone made the hair on my neck stand up. Not angry. Not worried. Flat. Empty. "Marcus, go get your sister. Bring her inside." I turned to look at him fully, and for just a second, less than a heartbeat, I saw something flicker across his face. A wrongness. Like a mask slipping. His mouth seemed too wide, stretched in a smile that showed too many teeth. His eyes were flat and black and hungry. Then it was gone, and he was just Dad again, tired and cold and scared for his daughter. "Marcus." Emma's voice was small. "Please. Please believe me." I stood frozen between them, my mind screaming contradictions. Everything I knew said Emma was sick, that grief and trauma had broken something in her mind. But that flicker. That impossible moment when Dad's face had been. "I believe something's wrong," I said carefully. "But Em, you're freezing. Whatever's happening, we need to get you warm. Please. Come inside, and we'll figure this out together." She looked at me for a long moment, tears freezing on her cheeks. Then she laughed, that same broken sound from last night. "You're choosing it over me. You're choosing the monster over your sister." "I'm choosing to keep you alive," I said. "Please, Em." She looked past me at Dad, and her face went slack with terror. "It's not pretending anymore. Marcus, run." I spun around. Dad was smiling. That's all. Just smiling. But Emma was screaming, backing away so fast she tripped and fell into the snow. "Its face. Marcus, look at its face." I looked. I saw Dad smiling. Just Dad. "Help me get her inside," Dad said calmly. Too calmly. "She's going to die out here." Together, we carried Emma back to the cabin. She fought and screamed the entire way, begging me to see, to really look, to please God just believe her. By the time we got her inside, she'd gone limp, her screams reduced to broken whimpers. "It's going to kill us," she whispered as I wrapped her in blankets. "It's going to wear our faces too. And no one will ever know." That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat in the main room, watching Dad sleep in the chair by the fire. He looked peaceful. Normal. But I couldn't shake what Emma had said. Couldn't unsee that momentary flicker. Around 3 a.m., I noticed something. Dad's chest wasn't moving. He wasn't breathing. I stared, counting seconds. 10, 20, 30. No breath. No movement. Then, slowly, his eyes opened. He wasn't asleep. He'd never been asleep. He was just still, watching the fire with those flat, empty eyes. And when he turned to look at me, he smiled. That smile. That impossibly wide smile. And for the first time, I saw what Emma had been seeing all along. The thing wearing my father's face smiled at me, and I understood. God help me, I finally understood. Its mouth stretched too far, corners reaching almost to its ears. The teeth. There were too many of them, needle-sharp and brown, crammed into a jaw that should not have been able to contain them all. Its eyes were flat black marbles, reflecting the firelight like a deer's eyes caught in headlights. Dead eyes. Hungry eyes. And the smell. How had I not noticed the smell? Rotting meat mixed with something chemical, something wrong. It filled my lungs, made me want to vomit. "Marcus," it said in Dad's voice, but wrong, like someone playing a recording at the wrong speed. "You're awake." I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. My body had frozen, some primal part of my brain recognizing a predator and shutting down completely. The thing tilted its head, too far, at an angle no human neck should bend. I can see that you see me now. Good. I was growing tired of pretending. It stood, and its movements were all wrong. Joints bending backwards. Limbs too long. It had been folded into Dad's shape, but now it was unfurling. What are you? My voice came out as a whisper. Many things. Old thing. Hungry thing. Your sister calls me Wendigo, and that's close enough. It took a step toward me, and I saw that its feet didn't quite touch the ground. I've been watching your family for months. Studying. Waiting. Your mother's death. Such exquisite pain, such delicious grief. It drew me like blood in water. Where's my father? The question burned coming out. Oh, he's here. The thing gestured at its chest. Screaming. Always screaming. I keep them alive inside me, you see. Their consciousness, their memories. It makes the disguise perfect. Every mannerism, every habit, every private joke. I consume them slowly, bit by bit, while wearing their faces. It smiled again. Your father has been screaming for 3 weeks. I thought I might vomit. Emma knew. She tried to tell me. Your sister is special. Sensitive. She could see through the veil. Not many can. It's rare. Precious. The thing's tongue flicked out, black and forked. Which is why I'll save her for last. Let her watch while I take you. Let her feel that helplessness. That guilt. It will season her meat beautifully. You're going to kill us. Eventually. But not quickly. Quick deaths have no flavor. It moved closer, and I could see things moving under its skin. Shapes that shouldn't be there. I'll wear your face, Marcus. I'll go back to your school, your friends, your life. I'll be you for months, maybe years, feeding on everyone who loves you while they never suspect. And when I'm done, I'll move to the next family. The next town. I've been doing this for centuries. My hand found the poker by the fireplace. Stay back. The Wendigo laughed, and the sound echoed like it was coming from the bottom of a well. That won't help you. But please, try. I enjoy it when they fight. I swung with everything I had. The poker passed through its head like smoke, and the thing's form rippled, became translucent. I'm not really here, it said, its voice coming from all around me. Not entirely. This body, your father's body, is just a shell I wear. The real me is much larger. Much older. I exist in the spaces between what you can see. Emma's scream tore through the cabin. I ran to her room, the thing's laughter following me. I found her pressed against the wall, pointing at the window. It's showing you now. It wants you to see. I looked out the window and saw it. The real Wendigo. It towered above the cabin, maybe 15 feet tall, its true form visible now in the pre-dawn darkness. Skeletal and massive, with antlers like a rotting elk, its body covered in matted fur and exposed bone. Its ribcage was visible, and inside I could see faces. Human faces pressed against the inside of its chest like prisoners behind glass. Screaming silently. One of them was Dad. No, I breathed. No, no, no. You see. Emma grabbed my arm. You finally see. That thing in the other room is just a puppet. A skin it wears. The real monster has been outside all along, pulling the strings. The thing outside tilted its massive head, and I realized it was looking directly at us. Its jaw unhinged, dropping open to reveal an endless black void. A sound came from that mouth, a shriek that wasn't quite animal, wasn't quite human. It shook the windows, made my teeth hurt. What do we do? I asked, my voice cracking. Emma, what do we do? We run. She was already moving, grabbing our coats. There's an old ranger station 5 miles north. If we can make it there. 5 miles in this storm? We'll freeze. We'll die if we stay here. She threw my coat at me. Marcus, that thing has been toying with us, playing with its food. But now that you can see it, the game is over. It's going to feed. A crash from the main room. The dad thing was coming. Back door. Now. Emma grabbed my hand and pulled me through the cabin. We burst into the storm, the cold hitting like a physical blow. Behind us, I heard the thing that wore Dad's face calling our names in a voice that cracked and warped, becoming less human with each syllable. We ran into the forest, snow grabbing at our legs. I looked back once and wished I hadn't. The Wendigo was following, moving through the trees like smoke, its massive form weaving between the pines. And walking below it, keeping pace, was Dad's body, empty-eyed and smiling that terrible smile. "Don't look back," Emma screamed. "Never look back." We ran until our lungs burned, until the cold made our faces numb, until I couldn't feel my feet anymore. The forest was a blur of white and dark, trees looming out of the storm like giants. And always behind us, getting closer, that sound, that shrieking, hungry sound. Emma suddenly stopped, grabbing a tree for support. "Marcus. Marcus, I can't. I can't run anymore. You have to." I pulled at her arm. "Come on, Em, please." "No." She turned to face the way we'd come. "I'm done running. I've been running since Mom died, and I'm tired. I'm so tired." "Emma, don't. Go." She pushed me. "Run to the ranger station. Tell them what happened here. Make sure someone knows the truth." Tears were streaming down her face, freezing in her hair. "Tell them I wasn't crazy. Tell them I saw it first because I loved Dad enough to notice when he changed. Promise me. I'm not leaving you. You have to." She smiled, and for a moment she looked like the sister I'd known before all this. Brave. Beautiful. One of us has to survive. One of us has to warn people. And Marcus. Her voice broke. "I'm already so cold. I can barely feel anything. Maybe that's better. Maybe it won't hurt as much when." The Wendigo burst from the trees. Everything happened in fragments. Nightmare pieces that don't quite fit together, even now. Emma screaming. The creature's claws. Oh God, those claws, reaching for her. Me grabbing her, pulling her behind me. The dad thing stepping forward, its smile stretching impossibly wide, saying, "There's nowhere to run, Marcus. There's never been anywhere to run." And then, light. Blinding, brilliant light cutting through the storm. A helicopter. A goddamn helicopter, spotlights sweeping through the trees. Over a loudspeaker, "This is search and rescue. Move away from the individuals." The Wendigo shrieked, its true form flickering. The light hurt it somehow. I could see it recoiling, the dad puppet convulsing. For just a moment, I heard my father's real voice screaming from inside that thing. "Shoot it! For God's sake, shoot it!" Gunfire. Not normal gunfire, something else. White phosphorus rounds, I learned later. Specialized ammunition developed years ago for something the government refuses to officially acknowledge exists. The rounds hit the Wendigo's true form, burning like white-hot stars, and the thing's shriek became something beyond sound. The dad puppet fell, black ichor pouring from its mouth, and I saw my father's face one last time, really his face, looking at us with love and pain and relief before the body dissolved into ash and bone and memory. Emma collapsed. I caught her, both of us falling into the snow. Men in tactical gear surrounded us. Rifles trained on the space where the Wendigo had been. It was gone. Vanished into the storm. But I could still hear it out there. Screaming. Wounded but alive. One of the men, Sergeant Reeves, his name tag said, knelt beside us. His face was grim. "How long were you alone with it?" 3 days, I managed. "It killed our father. I know what it did." His voice was gentle despite the horror in his eyes. "We've been tracking this one for 2 weeks. Got a report from a ranger who saw signs. By the time we got to your house, you were already gone. He looked at Emma, who was shaking so hard her teeth chattered. Your sister called 911 from a gas station 2 weeks ago, said her father wasn't her father anymore. They thought she was having a breakdown. She was the only one who could see, I said, my voice cracking. She tried to tell me, and I didn't believe her. I didn't. Emma's hand found mine. She couldn't speak, but her grip said everything. They airlifted us to a hospital in Duluth. Private facility. Government run. We spent 3 days being debriefed by people who knew about the Wendigo. Apparently, there are more of them than anyone wants to admit. Ancient things that hibernate for years, then wake hungry. They explained the signs Emma had been seeing, the shadow disconnection, the wrongness that sensitive people can detect. They told us that Dad had probably been taken the night after Mom's funeral, when grief made him vulnerable. They showed us the footage from inside the creature when they burned it. The faces trapped in its chest cavity. Dad was there. Conscious. Aware. Screaming silently for 3 weeks while that thing wore his skin. Emma didn't speak for 5 days after we got out. Just sat in her hospital bed, staring at nothing. The doctors said she was processing trauma. I said she was grieving for the father she'd tried to save, the warnings no one had believed. On the 6th day, she finally looked at me. You believe me now. It wasn't a question, but I answered anyway. I believe you. I'm sorry I didn't believe you before. I'm so sorry, Em. You couldn't see it. It didn't want you to. She paused. Do you hate me? For being right? What? No. God, Em, no. You saved our lives. If you hadn't known, if you hadn't warned me, Dad would still be alive. Her voice was flat. If I'd been able to make you believe me sooner. If I'd been more convincing. If I'd. Don't. I took her hand. This isn't your fault. None of this is your fault. That thing killed Dad. Not you. Never you. She cried then, for the first time since it happened. Deep, wrenching sobs that shook her whole body. I held her while she cried for our father, for our mother, for the family we'd lost. For the innocence of believing the world made sense. 3 months later, we moved to Seattle. Fresh start. New state. The government helped relocate us, set us up with cover stories and counseling and enough money to start over. They made us sign NDAs. Told us we could never speak about what really happened. National security. Public panic. The usual bullshit. But they also gave us something else. A number to call if we ever saw signs again. If we ever noticed someone whose shadow didn't match, whose smile stretched too wide, whose eyes were empty and hungry. Emma keeps that number in her wallet. She studies people now, really studies them. Looking for signs. She's become obsessed with it, and I don't know if that's healthy, but I understand. How do you go back to normal after learning monsters are real? Some nights, I still hear it. That shrieking sound. That hungry, ancient sound. The Wendigo they burned didn't die, Reeves told me that much. It retreated, wounded, back to whatever dark place these things come from. But it's out there. And there are others. Emma wakes up screaming most nights. I do too. We see Dad's face sometimes, that last moment when he looked out at us from inside the monster, when he was finally able to say goodbye. The therapists say the nightmares will fade. I don't believe them. How do you forget your father's screams? How do you unsee the proof that love and family and trust can be worn like a mask by something that only wants to feed? Last week, Emma came into my room at 3 a.m. She stood in the doorway, just watching me sleep. When I woke up, she was crying. I need to know it's really you, she whispered. Every morning, I need to check. I need to see that your shadow matches. That you're still you. I understand. I check her too. Every day, multiple times, I study my sister for signs that something has taken her. That the thing we saw in Minnesota came back to finish what it started. We live in constant fear now. Fear that every smile is too wide. Every shadow is wrong. Every loved one might not be who they seem. But we also live with something else. Gratitude. We survived. We know the truth. And if we ever see the signs again, in ourselves, in each other, in anyone, we'll know what to do. We'll believe. We'll act. We'll fight. Because Emma taught me the most important lesson of all. Sometimes the people we love try to warn us about dangers we can't see. And sometimes, the greatest act of love is choosing to believe them anyway. Even when it sounds impossible. Even when it means facing monsters. Especially then. I keep Dad's watch on my nightstand. The one the Wendigo wore while pretending to be him. It stopped working the moment he died, frozen at 3:47 a.m. The exact moment his consciousness finally let go inside that thing's chest cavity. Sometimes I pick it up and hold it, and I swear I can feel him. Not the monster. Not the puppet. But my real father, the one who loved us, the one who screamed our names as a warning from inside his prison. "I'm sorry, Dad," I whisper to the silent watch. "I'm sorry I didn't see sooner." Emma found me like that last night. She sat beside me on the bed, and we held each other while the watch ticked. No, not ticked. It doesn't tick anymore. But I could have sworn I heard something. Maybe just memory. Maybe just grief. Or maybe it was Dad, wherever he is now, telling us he understands. That he forgives us. That he loves us still.